Discover the country where mischief is legal. Certainly most of you have heard about this place on various occasions, whether in the context of football, its association with Pablo Escobar, its vibrant nightlife, or its exuberant natural beauty. From a social perspective, it is a country that has long yearned to find happiness. I'm referring to a country with a territory 5 times larger than Ecuador, a population of 52 million, and an area of 1 million square kilometers. It is the second most populous country in South America after Brazil. However, being a developing nation with such a large population comes with its challenges. This has led some women to enter prostitution and men to be drawn into crime and robbery. Colombia's history dates back to the period before the arrival of the Spanish in the Americas, when the region was inhabited by various indigenous tribes. The first Spanish explorers to set foot on Colombian soil were Alonso de Ojeda and Juan de la Cosa in 1499. Later, several exploratory expeditions traversed the coastal region, culminating in the founding of Colombia's first city, Santa Marta, in 1525. Cartagena was established 8 years later in 1537, 1533. In 1810, the areas that formed New Granada rebelled against Spanish rule, with the exceptions of Santa Marta, Rio Hacha, and regions now part of Panama and Ecuador. The independence process began with various organizations and events, initially led by Antonio Nariño and Camilo Torres Tenorio. Later, the fight for independence was spearheaded by Simón Bolívar and Francisco de Paula Santander, culminating in the lengthy Battle of Boyacá, which began in 1810 and was finally successful in 1819. By the 1800s, Gran Colombia was established, encompassing the territories of modern-day Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, and Ecuador, under the leadership of Simón Bolívar. Over time, these nations gradually separated, becoming 4 independent countries by 1903. For almost a century, power in Gran Colombia was contested between the conservative and liberal parties, culminating in a long-lasting civil war due to their rivalry. In 1948, the assassination of a liberal leader triggered riots in Bogotá, known as El Bogotazo, which spread nationwide, causing thousands of deaths. This led liberals and conservatives to share power. However, former liberal militants founded the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, FARC, in 1964. In subsequent years, other insurgent groups such as the National Liberation Army, ELN, and the 19th of April movement, M19, emerged, exacerbating the civil conflict. By the 1980s, cocaine production had expanded significantly in Colombia, making it the largest producer in the world, with 79% of global production currently concentrated in the country. A pause. The more likes we get, the more amazing videos we can create for you. So don't be shy, hit that like button. Back to the present. One of Colombia's iconic cities is Medellin. When viewed from above, its building structures resemble Hong Kong's skyline. Despite being relatively small, with an area of about 382 square kilometers, the city is home to nearly 3 million residents. This has led to the construction of tall, multifaceted buildings. About 3 decades ago, Medellin was notorious as the most dangerous city in the world. Today, although some areas still have improvised housing, organized criminal gangs have nearly vanished. The city, once a stronghold for cartels, has transformed into Colombia's most sought-after tourist destination. Visitors to Medellin often make it a point to visit the tomb of Pablo Escobar, the founder of the Medellin cartel, and the subject of numerous series and films worldwide. Escobar was later killed by US-supported agents. After Escobar's era, Medellin and Colombia embarked on a swift renewal process to shed their negative image. Over time, they partially succeeded in undoing this detrimental perception. Streets once avoided are now tourist attractions, adorned with street artists and graffiti. A standout area is Comuna Tres Perceche, a thriving neighborhood and one of the most photographed places in the country. It's also a spot where connecting with Colombians is easy. Medellin is a welcoming city, and when people want to escape the heat, they often visit its bustling shopping centers. Thus, Medellin attracts visitors with its unique blend of history, resilience, and charm. Tourists from around the world flock to Colombia. One major factor drawing tourists to Colombia is the considerable devaluation of the Colombian peso against the US dollar, with 1 USD currently tourists. It's clear that the cost of living is directly tied to one's standard of living, but it's also intrinsically linked to personal income. For example, renting a 3-bedroom apartment in Bogota costs around $400, while in Cali, a similar property ranges between $280 and $380. As a result, many people, especially singles, opt to rent a room in a family home or share an apartment, which significantly reduces housing expenses to as little as $150. On the other hand, a childless couple will live in a furnished studio for about $85 per month, including all expenses. In general, food prices in Colombia are not excessively high. On average, a dozen eggs cost $1.75 a kilogram of chicken is $5 and a kilogram of bananas is $1.25 At the current exchange rate, foreign tourists can enjoy high-end hotels for an average of $30 to $50 per night. However, if you ask a typical resident of cities like Medellin or Bogota, they'll tell you they earn only about $220 to $300 per month. This disparity highlights the reality that locals do not enjoy the same level of comfort as tourists. The country has a ride-sharing system such as Uber, offering transportation for around $3 to get anywhere in Medellin, avoiding the crowds and congestion of public transport. However, opting for a regular yellow taxi can be considerably more expensive. Locals often prefer motorcycles since purchasing a car is out of reach for most Colombians, who typically allocate the majority of their earnings to basic needs. For these reasons, Colombia is often compared to Thailand in South America. Here, food and entertainment are affordable, but unemployment is high. On the streets, it's common to find street vendors with frozen lemonade costing about 3,000 pesos, $0.65 In urban areas, street performers are a regular sight. At red lights, they dance in the middle of the street and then ask drivers for donations. Some even offer to clean car windows as a way to earn a living, a scene quite similar to many Brazilian cities. When you interact with people in Colombia, no one judges your financial situation or wastes time based on it. If you make it clear that you're willing to spend money, you'll find dozens of people ready to share moments with you within minutes. If you hold eye contact for more than 5 seconds, people naturally approach you. Additionally, Colombian authorities do not interfere in these interactions. In summary, prostitution is legal in the country, and police interventions are limited to those involved in drug trafficking. They never interfere in interpersonal relationships. If you prefer more authentic connections, it's essential to embrace dancing with Colombians, as the region's typical Latin rhythms are a primary way of bonding. The music doesn't stop until 2 a.m., and people are always engaged in dance. Ultimately, Colombia offers a vibrant mix of culture, affordability, and human connection, making it an intriguing destination. When the minimum wage in a country is below $300, when the minimum wage in a country is less than $300 and unemployment is high due to population density, people find various ways to maintain a reasonable standard of living. In Colombia, money is a resource that opens all doors, and Medellin is a remarkable example of this. Bogota, the nation's capital, is a metropolis with cable cars spanning its landscape, home to a population of 7 million people. Nestled between mountains, the city rises to an altitude of 2,650 meters above sea level. Similar to Medellin, street art is highly valued here, and the city is known for its organization, providing a metropolitan vibe. Compared to Medellin, Bogota is the hub of activity in Colombia, attracting those who wish to study at the country's universities. The most dangerous area, known as Santa Fe, is infamous for illegal activities and is a place most people avoid. However, Colombia is not limited to affordable meals and a lively nightlife. There are many other aspects that make it unique. For instance, just a 2-hour drive from Medellin lies the village of Guatapé, a true green paradise where mountains meet lakes. The highlight of this region is a gigantic rock, believed to have formed millions of years ago and now a popular tourist destination. Climbing to the top requires paying a fee, but you'd be surprised to learn that the breathtaking view of the lake is man-made. Although it looks entirely natural from above, it was actually On the other hand, Colombia is home to a unique and astonishing natural wonder, a river with an uncommon beauty. Hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest, this river stands out for its intensely red-colored water. The reason behind its vibrant hue is truly a sight to behold. The source of this peculiar coloration. The vibrant color of the river is due to the presence of a red plant that grows on its riverbed. Colombians claim that this plant is exclusive to the region and cannot be found anywhere else. Discovered in 1969, the river is known as the River of Five Colors. If Colombia still hasn't captured your interest, there's another truly unique place in the country. Imagine a small, isolated island in the middle of the ocean, with no land connection. This island is home to a large population and has no formal municipal government. The local residents are responsible for their own self-management, regulating life on the island according to their own rules. Surprisingly, there is no police presence to intervene in case of crimes, and no hospital for medical emergencies. The residents must rely entirely on themselves. Moreover, to reach the mainland, they face a long and challenging journey. This small community, home to approximately 1,200 people, lives independently of mainland Colombia. The only way to access the island from the mainland is by boat tours. Even then, non-residents are allowed to stay for a maximum of 10 days. I tried to find out why the stay is limited to 10 days, but I couldn't find any information. The only lodging option available on the island is a single guest house. The community's main source of livelihood is fishing, with the fish being sold in other regions of Colombia. The families on the island primarily rely on fish for their diet. They meet their electricity needs with more than 200 solar panels installed on the island, taking advantage of solar energy. Additionally, the island has access to a Wi-Fi internet. Despite being isolated from the rest of Colombia in terms of internal affairs, it cannot be said that the islanders are completely disconnected from the modern era. However, the island lacks a basic sanitation system, forcing residents to meet their physiological needs in the same water where they fish. This raises hygiene concerns, making the location unsuitable for prolonged habitation. Those who live completely isolated in Colombia are the Amazonian tribes, and we will explore their stories in a future video. That's it for now. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Check out the video appearing on the screen now. You'll be amazed.